Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here, and I just can't stop buying more games. Welcome to the Friday Night Rant. So I hope everyone is okay. It is Friday. I have 9 days off from work, which is going to consist of gaming, programming, and there was something else in there. Oh yes, I'm filming, that was it. I wanted to film some skits because I've got some time now. And on top of it, it is the Dead Island Day, or it may have been yesterday if you was a lucky soul and it came early. So yes, I said on the previous video I wasn't going to get Dead Island simply because I've been hurt in the past by ordering games, and I wasn't going to, but it's zombies and it's RPG, and I really did try and stop myself, and my friend got it a day earlier and he texted me and just says, so far so good. That was it. I had to go and buy it, and I was thinking it's co-op as well, so I had £25 Amazon voucher plus £4 in change on Amazon itself, and I looked and Red Dead was £32, so I thought really it would be rude not to order it, so I did, and it's not been dispatched just yet, so it's going to be with me on Monday, but like I said, I'm off for a week, so hopefully it will be a zombie week. So let's crack on with our sponsored beer, which is one that my dad picked up from like a farmer's market, and it is a drink by the name of Random Toss. So this is some homebrew stuff. My dad drank it, phoned me up and told me he threw it away. Joe drank hers and actually said it was quite nice, so I don't know who to believe. Here's the verdict of Random Toss. At first it wasn't too bad because I've had a lot of home ales and stuff, and it kind of tasted like that, what I expected it to. But then you get like a horrible aftertaste, but then it's not so bad because that's the kind of taste you expect. So I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's not great, but that's what you expect from a homebrew. First of all, I just want to say that this video might be a bit skitty and jumpy and all over the place simply because I've said it before on camera, but again, I've tried to stop smoking. And so far, I am 6 days into it, which is awesome, but as tonight is Friday, it's like the worst night for my cravings because I'm used to kicking back with a beer, smoking and playing computer games. So yeah, my brain's a bit all over the place and I find it really hard to concentrate because normally I come in, write my bits and bobs down for the Friday Night Rant, and I just noticed my mind was going off and I'm just doing random crap. I'm just wasting my afternoon. So trying to dial it in, keep my mind straight. So the first thing I wanted to talk about this week is Rage. So far, Rage was showing its trailers, everything it was saying about it just was positive and was like, this game looks like it's brilliant. It's by ID Software, or id, that some people like to call it, even themselves call themselves id. I prefer ID. But anyway, so this week it's emerged that in the game they've programmed some sewers that you can run around and obviously kill monsters and such inside it. But what they're doing is they're going to go down this online pass route. So a lot of different companies now are all saying, like, if you buy the game first hand, you'll get your content. If you buy it second hand, you probably have to pay a small fee to be able to unlock content. And all that content pretty much has always consisted of this online content until Rage have now turned the tables and actually disabling offline content. So in other words, if you buy it second hand, parts of the story won't work unless you buy them. So that's what was said originally. So a lot of people was like, oh my god, like Rage have taken the piss and have gone too far with it. But that's how I felt exactly as soon as I found out about it. But I stepped back and just think about it this way. They've taken the sewers out of the game, but what they've said is that it's not locked or anything. They've removed it, bundled it up as a DLC package, and they've stuck it on the internet. So when you buy your game, you turn it in. If it's brand new, it pulls down this download content and it's there. If it isn't, it doesn't pull it down. So that's not actually a part of the story you're going to miss. It's just some area in the game you no longer have. So think of it as actually when you buy a game and they say you get a free map pack with it. But if you buy it secondhand, you won't get a free map pack. You don't seem as pissed. And that's kind of what they've done. They've just worded it really wrong, in my opinion. So I can see why people are angry, and it's bad when they take away things, but I think it's no more worse than like Fable. I remember when I had Fable and I wanted to play Not All Island, so I paid £5 for it and it downloaded like that because it was already on the disc. And that's acceptable. People are like, yeah, because like you play the game and then like a month down the line they're like, here's some DLC, and you're like, oh cool, and that's acceptable. But that's no different to what they've just kind of done. But the only trouble is they've just worded it wrong, or the news has got hold of it and just blown it out of proportion. So I don't actually think it's as bad as what people are saying. But still, it's just horrible when they start taking bits out of games and selling it you when it should all just be one. So going down the line of that, some people are going to moan and argue with me, and that's fair enough. This is YouTube. One bad thing is Dragon Quest. I think it's 10. I'm not big on the Dragon Quest scene. Jo is, and she's been following that Dragon Quest is coming out, and she's all excited, and obviously it's going to get released for the Wii U as well. What they've decided to do is actually properly stop you playing the story mode. They've actually done the naughty, and what will happen is you get to play the game for so many hours, then it forces you to continue playing online. But to do so, you have to buy an online pass. Now that is really, really bad. So Square Enix, for doing that, I can't understand, because there's so many followers of it, and everybody enjoys Dragon Quest, and everyone always says, oh, Square Enix are dead good. But then they go along and do something like this, and it just makes you go, wait, why at one point did somebody sit in a boardroom and go, you know what's a good idea? Let's do this, because this probably won't piss anybody off and lose his fans at all. This is a really good idea. So it's just like, I can't understand why they've gone with that. So staying on the Nintendo side of things, Nintendo is obviously doing the 3DS conference soon, and it's leaked out at the moment. Apparently this new peripheral that they're going to be launching is a second analog stick. Now the photos have started to show, and it is fucking disgusting. Now it's disgusting for two reasons. One, it looks like a Fisher-Price kids item, not an expensive peripheral that you connect to a very expensive handheld. But instead, they've just churned this out, and I feel like it's something that they've just rushed. It just feels like they've just rushed it out just in March, so it hits the end of year finance, and then the finances look good, and they've kind of just gone, there you go, out it goes. Crap, we could have done with a second analog stick. We'll release that later, don't worry, just ship it. And it feels like it's a rushed product. And on top of it now, some news is starting to circulate saying that the Wii U is also having a lot of problems, whereas the actual Wii U itself has not got the power to be able to do the graphics that they said it could do, while at the same time chucking that graphics out to your actual tablet, doing all your tablet information, receiving it, compiling it, and doing everything. So apparently they have real trouble trying to get this to work. And they're saying the reason it is because of the push for the release date. Now, that then points to they're trying to push this out again too fast. And like, to me, a lot of people, when I badmouth Nintendo, they're like, oh yeah, but Nintendo is great, like look at the NES and the GameCube and all these different things. Now, I just say you got to look back. Nintendo was absolutely awesome, but it doesn't mean companies can't change. I feel like lately, you got people like Capcom, people who say they're awesome, and next minute they're charging for demos and churning out the same game again, but with different tweaks, and like that company's changed over time, and now people don't like them, and I feel like that's Nintendo for me. Now, don't get me wrong, Nintendo released some great games, and there's people out there who love them, but I've decided now, after all this, just looking at it now, there's never been a point where I've actually gone, crap, I wish I owned a Nintendo so I could play that game. But I always do that for the PlayStation 3. And now, I've never wanted a PlayStation 3, because to me, the 360 and PlayStation 3 are pretty much a similar console, apart from obviously one has exclusives. Well, they both have exclusives. But I've made my bed, I'm sleeping in the 360 bed, and I've never been bothered about the PlayStation 3. But the things like Catherine's come out, and obviously you've got all the Uncharted, and even silly things like Little Big Planet, I'm always like, oh, I wish I could play that. So I need to go out and play that. So what I'm deciding now is, instead of trying to buy these Nintendo games and try and force myself to like Nintendo, I'm just going to bang it on the head and buy myself a PlayStation 3 now. So it's not something I can just do. I haven't got PlayStation 3 slush funds lying around. But at the moment, if by the end of tonight I'm not smoking, that means I've done a full week. So I'm going to treat myself, put some money in a jar, and then every time I go a week, I'm going to put some more money in a jar. So hopefully next Friday night rant, you'll either see me really upset, just go, oh, I'm smoking again, or you'll see me rattling a bit of change in the jar. So I've got a problem with the news. Now, we know news always puts bad spin on games, but I think one thing that they've done this week is Fox News did this horrible thing. When I watched it, I was just in shock. that they actually thought that was okay to air. And what they did is they got a guy on, the game expert, who told people how games are bad at corrupting children and went on. And the thing is, he was referring to some games, like he was saying, in a McDonald's game, you have to slaughter the animals. Now, what he didn't actually say is he's referring to somebody's made a Flash game taking the piss out of McDonald's. That's not a real game that's been released. This is just a Flash game for fun. But yet, with him just saying this game you slaughter animals, some parents will be sat at home going, really? And they will take that on. And the thing is, news do it all the time, because at the end of the day, news need to fill time up. So a lot of the times, I can remember when Mass Effect 2 was coming out, it was saying that there is some graphic sex in it and stuff like that. And you had this woman who's never played a game in her life going, I think it's really wrong. There's no evidence. She don't know nothing about it. She's just saying, I think it's really wrong. Then you'll have a game expert come on going, yeah, but that don't actually happen. Then they'll argue. But there's no argument. He's just saying, it doesn't happen. And she's going, yeah, but computer games do this to women, do that. She's got nothing. It's just they've given her a topic and said, argue. And the thing is, people will sit there who've not formed an opinion yet, if games are good or bad, listen to it and go, wow, that's a bit bad. It's slander. They're like bad-mouthing these games, and especially when it's parents that are thinking, shall I buy a Wii U or something like that for my kid, a new generation console that's coming up, then you get this stuff being shoved down your throat. And I just think it's wrong of the news people to do it, because to me it's just like, for instance, if you got somebody that was working for Nike and somebody that knows nothing about Nike, and then they're saying, isn't it horrible how Nike use children as slave labour, and then they start arguing. There's no evidence to back it up, but there's an argument, and because you hear them words you think Nike, slave labour, and it kind of gets in your head. And I just think if that happened, Nike would sue them for slander. So it's just a shame that because they don't necessarily pick a particular topic of games, they just say games, that no one can actually sue them. And I just think it's bad that they're allowed to go and do such things. Now at this point I've got to say that I actually paused during that rant, because I went on to argue about boobs and education, and I started saying it, and then I realised I had nowhere to go. Getting the boobs out on YouTube, argue. And if the YouTube argument was better than going to the school, then normally half the time I write down my bullet points when I do a Friday night rant, and I'll just pick up a word and I'll run with it and see how far I can get. But at the moment, because my brain isn't working, I don't even know how I got that line of questioning, so I just stopped and had another swig of beer. So I think I'm going to have to knock it on the head, because my brain's not working, and I wouldn't actually upload this, but every time I miss a Friday night rant I get quite a lot of flack, so it's better to produce a bit of a crazy Tom Brain video than to actually not produce anything at all. So, bring you on to the question of the week. And that simply is, because I've decided that I'm going to buy a PlayStation 3, and when I do get a PlayStation 3, I'm probably going to go, why didn't I buy this sooner? So, have you ever had a product where you've looked at it and gone, I don't need that? Then at one point you brought it and gone, why did I not buy this sooner? And if you did, what was it? So that's it. Sorry that I've not been getting back to everyone's comments, but as you may notice today, you might have an email in your inbox. I sat at work for 4 hours and replied to everything over the last month. I've not got into my actual personal messages inbox yet, so over the next day or so, I'll get through them as well. So I can only apologise, it's taking me so long to get back to everyone, but I have. So thank you very much. Wish me luck.